Hi everyone, Michelle here from the Creative Cove, and thanks for joining me today. I wanted to show you something a little different today. I wanted to show you how to make these little costume-based jewelry danglers for your junk journals. They add a little bit of different texture, and it's a chance to play with a different medium, which is nice sometimes to break away from paper and make these little decorative elements for your journals. You can do themes. So this one, for example, is Dreaming of the Sea. It's got some turquoise and a sailboat. This one is for my bee journal that I just made. So I'm going to show you how to make these little bees today, as well as maybe one more. We'll see how much time we have. And I like mine quite simple, but you can get pretty elaborate. Here's one I did before, again, using the jewelry. So there's a bee again. And then I used up a bunch of lacy bits that I had left over that, again, you can clip onto the side of a journal. So they can get from very simple to very elaborate, depending on your taste and what you have for supplies. So supplies themselves are, what I use is costume jewelry. So when I'm in a garage sale or a thrift shop and they have little bags of pretty ugly costume jewelry, I like to cut it up and use the bits and pieces out of them. So for example, the Dreaming of the Sea was I think it was a charm bracelet, but the charm bracelet was broken. So I just took it apart, and I'll keep the chain, and I keep the decorative elements. So here, for example, are some earrings that are broken up that obviously I won't be wearing. But you can see they have all kinds of bits and pieces you can use on them, and they're dirt cheap. So you just need a couple of tools. So there's needle nose pliers that I'm pretty sure I stole out of my husband's toolbox, and they have cutters. And then I had to buy this because I didn't have one, which is a round needle nose pliers. So they're rounded and they'll create the loops. So these are really the only tools you need. The rest is recycled. And then I did have to buy some jump rings, because sometimes when you take the old jewelry apart, the jump rings get a little too worn out. So these are quite cheap as well, and they're just assorted sizes and colors. And then I also bought these, and I'm not sure in the jewelry world what they are called. I'm not a jewelry maker, so I'm not too familiar with the terms, but they have loops on them, or they have the flat ends. And so they're what I thread the beads on. So I bought those, I bought the jump rings, and I bought the tools and everything else. Oh, and I bought this little, what's it called? A jewelry mat. So it was like $3, and it stops beads from rolling everywhere. It's probably the best investment I made. And it was like $3. And that's it. The rest is just recycled material, which I like to use. So my first suggestion, if you try to make some of these, or you want to make some of these, don't go crazy and buy a whack load of stuff. Just look through your own jewelry box or your friend's jewelry box and have a look to see what they've got that they don't wear or use anymore, and just cut it up and recycle it. And you'll be amazed how much you can get off just a couple of necklaces. Okay, so let me show you how I do these. So let's do the bee. So these little bee wings came off a necklace. So again, I didn't buy them. It's just a thrifty necklace, and they were in between like that. So I took one off, and I thought it'd be kind of cute to build a little bee with that. So I take a one with the flat edge, and I find a bead that I like. So I did have some yellow. I think I have one out here, and let's use him. So I have a little bead here, and these also came off a necklace, which I don't know what they're called, but they're flat and they sit underneath and on top of the bead. So they add another little decorative element. So there it is there. And then I'm gonna thread the wings on, and then I'm gonna give it a head. So let's see if we can find a tiny bead, maybe a little silver bead here. I'm gonna thread that on. And there's my little bee. So you can actually put like a long, maybe a really long bead here, like something like this maybe, and turn it into a dragonfly if you wanted. Anyway, so we're doing a bee. So we're gonna fold it. I take my flat nose pliers and I flatten it to the back. So it goes to the side like that, as flat as I can. Hopefully you can see that. And then I take the width of my finger and I use the cutters and I go to the side of my finger and I cut. And now I use my round pliers and I take it and I roll it back on itself. And I make sure it's tucked in like this. And there it is, it's built. So there's my little bee. So let's do, let's assemble a little chain here. So I have a piece and this guy has wings in it already, so I think I'll leave him. I'm gonna add him to the bottom. So I'm gonna take a jump ring, which is these round loops, and they have an opening at the opening that you just kind of pry apart like that. It's open. I thread it through the bee. I'm gonna thread it through my chain, and then I'm gonna close it back up. And you do want to make sure it is closed. Oops, that's too much. So if you ever do it like that, I would probably dispose of this jump ring now. So you can see I'm new to this as well. I'm learning as I go, but it's nice to have a little break from the paper. So because I overfolded that, I'm not going to use that one because it probably won't line up again. And these, like I said, they're really cheap. You get a pack of 100 for a couple of bucks. And the hardest part about this is the finickiness of it. So you have to kind of give yourself some time to get used to using the tools. You know how a surgeon feels with all these delicate tools. There we go. Closed it up. Make sure it's closed so nothing comes off. And there's my one piece so far. So you can either take this apart and make another bee. I think maybe what I'll do is make a cluster of some yellow beads maybe. So here's a piece off of jewelry here. We could just add this if we wanted. But let's make something. So here's a pretty yellow bead, nice and bright. There's a nice square one. What else have we got in here? A little round one. So let's maybe use some of these up. Some silver. This is kind of cool, this bead here, like this. So let's use that. So what I'm gonna do is, actually it's already got a chain on it, which is kind of nice. So maybe I'll just take the bottom of this open and replace a yellow bead. So I'm gonna open the loop, try to flatten out the line as much as I can. I'll take these off, and I think I'll put this little one back on. And then I'm gonna fold it down, cut it the width of my finger. Oops, I put the cutters on the right side so they're right up against your finger like that. That way I know I get the right size loop. And then I fold it on itself, nice and tight. And then I can put the jump ring to here. And now I've got another little piece. So I just recycled a part of that. I guess it was a piece of necklace or earring. So I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna open it, jump ring, and I'm going to connect it to the top and connect it to this loop. So they're both on there like that. And then I'm gonna close it. And I hope you guys can see it. Okay. So there's that, like that. I think it needs some yellow up here. So I really like this yellow bead, so I'm gonna add that. Do I have something decorative to add to it? Another one of these, maybe? Oops. Put that on there. This. Maybe another one on top. So there. Again, all recycled jewelry. Didn't buy any jewelry other than used. And maybe this pretty bead here. There, that's kind of nice. I'll fold that over, cut it, width of my finger, and roll over on itself. try and do it where you can see. Hopefully you can see how I rolled that like that. All right, I'm going to do a jump ring. Here's one that's open. Feed it through the hole. My hair out of there, feed it through the hole. And let's feed it through the hole here and close it up. Here we go. So now I'll show you how to add the paper clip. So here's the paper clip. So if you don't like the length, you can add the paper clip right here if you want. I like long ones, so I'm going to add it to the very top here. So I slide it on, paper clip to the bottom. You can do it, so you want it to open up this way. So I feed it to the biggest loop. If you want a little bit more security, you can feed it to the small loop. And it's that way it's wrapped around that way, but it really, there's no wrong or right, whatever you want to do. So I'm just going to leave it down here. And I'm going to now roll these paper clips because I don't want it to slide off. So I take the end of the paper clip, pull it out a bit, take my round tweezers again, pliers, sorry, and roll it over on itself like that. And try to flatten it so it doesn't catch anything. I'm going to do the same to this side. So I pull it out, take my rollers and roll it. My pliers, and roll it. And there we go. Now it can't come off. And then it just slides on a bee journal. So this is my bee journal I started. I had enough ephemera left over to start another one. And I just slide it on. Oops. And it's just another little decorative element. And again, you can get it elaborate or simple as you like. So there's the bee. All right, you can also, I have a couple here pre-made. You can also make them so that you wrap the, this is how I store them. So when I'm ready to use, they're just on these papers. So here's one with an elephant. So this, I wrapped the paper clip completely with a piece of paper. I just glued it around after I put my decoration on there. And then I used a jump ring at the top of the paper clip and slid it on one of these fancy paper clips. So there's another way of using the actual paper clip as a decoration as well. So there's that option as well. So this is a great way to use up some costume jewelry. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you like my videos, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification button for more upcoming videos. Have a great day, guys. Bye.